Hi, guys. Welcome to the Soul Sanctuary podcast. It has been quite some time, but Ocean Lover and I are back here again. We're doing
Yes.
episode 60 and we're talking about etheric medicine. Hi, Ocean.
Hi, how are you, Emmy Pooh?
I am good, Sissy Boo.
It's so good to see you. It seems like it's been forever, right? Since we've been.
Yes. We've
Wow,
both been very busy with all sorts of different things. And
absolutely.
I think tonight's conversation is definitely going to be a very fun, very informative um, dive into the realm of etheric medicines. Where would you like to
Absolutely.
start?
You know me. Where do you think I like to start?
Right
The
at the very beginning.
beginning is a very good place to start. Speaking of the beginning,
Mhm.
I would just like to start with this. First of all, hello, fam. It's good to see everybody. I'm going to start with this. As part of Emmy's formative years, she prepared since elementary school to become a highly trained doctor. She would miss elementary school to join her mother at medical seminars as part of her mother's continuing education as an NICU registered nurse. Due to her highly focused personal interest in her adolescent years, she aspired to become a cardiothoracic surgeon, excuse me, and neurosurgeon. See, you're all fancy even at the age of 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and stuff. So let's see, as life would have it, her path veered from allopathic medicine and led her directly to her destiny, a naturally born gift as a medical intuitive. With over 10,000 sessions logged from clients spanning the entire globe, Emmy has refined her abilities into a powerful gift for the world. So I think that's a great place to start. There's some terms that people may not be familiar with, and I like to have everybody on the same page. So, first, I would like to know if you can tell me about your experience
Well, which part of my experience?
when you were younger with all these fancy words, cardiothoracic at age 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I want to know, yeah, I also want to know about the term medical intuitive. I would love to know more about that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there would. And etheric medicine itself.
So, ever since childhood, I've basically been prepared to enter into the medical field, to become a medical professional, whether it be as a registered nurse or as a doctor. It really didn't matter. That was the goal, was for me to become a part of the medical profession. And because of that, my mother introduced me from a very young age to a lot of medical things. And, little girls, they aspire to be just like their mothers, right?
Mm.
My mom, she was a very well respected um, neonatal intensive care unit registered
Mm.
nurse. And
Mm.
so her training was highly specialized. She received the sickest of sick babies. I'm talking about
Mm.
preterm. I'm talking about babies born with addiction present. I'm talking about babies who are not expected to survive. These were her patients.
Wow.
And as part of her requirement to remain a registered nurse in compliance
Mhm.
with the state um, regulations, she would need to continue her education credits. So
Mm.
every year she would need to go and take classes that are approved. And sometimes they would be like week-long seminars. And I would beg her to let me go with her.
Yeah. I can only imagine how that was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it wasn't just like to get
You
out of
beg to go with.
school, right? Because she would let me miss
Mhm.
elementary school to go with her. And my most fondest one was
Mhm.
when we drove to Monterey. This one was a week long. We stayed in a hotel. And the subject matter, I want to say it was like in second grade. The subject matter was the high risk neonate. And they were also sharing cutting edge technology, which is IVF, in vitro fertilization. So
Mhm.
in second grade, I'm like
Mhm.
taking notes frantically, had a little
Mhm.
notebook,
Mhm.
taking notes. And there was a show that was
Wow.
out that was really popular, and it was called Doogie Howser.
Mhm.
Doogie Howser
Mhm.
MD, and he was like a
Yeah.
prodigy. And everyone at
Mhm.
this seminar thought that I was a little Doogie Howser. He became a doctor
Mhm.
at like a very
Mhm.
young age. As a teen, he was a doctor. And they all thought that I was a prodigy. And it was just like, no,
Mhm.
I pestered my mom to let me come.
Okay,
And so I
okay.
learned about all of that. It was in the 80s. It was
Mm.
like mid to late 80s,
Wow.
and it was definitely cutting edge information, and I was
Mhm.
super fascinated.
Mm.
Any seminars my mother couldn't bring me to, I would read over all of the binders and notes and everything that they would give the participants. So I've just always been highly fascinated with medical
Mm.
things. Highly
Yes,
fascinated.
that makes sense. Wow. Wow. Okay, so I would like to ask you the combination of your spiritual gifts with your natural curiosity and your natural talents for understanding the life of allopathic medicine too. How did those two meet? How did they intersect? And
Well,
it's okay.
again, it ties back to my mother,
Mhm.
because she had issues with her blood pressure from the time I was fairly young. I was in elementary school,
Mm.
and I remember being able to sense the irregularities, the symptoms she was experiencing without her expressing this to me. And that really cultivated a desire to learn more. There's
Mm.
nothing that compares to being thrust into a situation as a child where you feel like you don't have control. You're not able to
Yes.
help because of your lack of experience or lack of knowledge. And that was
Yeah.
the very thing that caused me to really dive deep. Now, she wasn't forcing me into spaces of, like I would have to sit down and I'd be forced to read these things. These were things that I would do on my own. I've always been an
Mhm.
odd little ducky of a child. I
Mhm.
have.
I get
I
it.
remember,
Yeah.
I think it was either the summer of first grade or the summer of second grade. I decided to go ahead and begin memorizing the entirety of our Britannica encyclopedia set,
Mhm.
including,
Mhm.
the appendix.
Okay.
And that was just something that fascinated me. I read it all by
Mhm.
myself. No one tasked me to do that. So I've just
Mhm.
always been a child that's a voracious reader.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I once upon a time, I had a very photographic memory. And so
Mm.
once I read it, it's stored in my memory, and
Okay.
I'll retrieve it once you give me reason to.
Mm.
So that ties into the medical intuition. If all of this
Mhm.
information regarding medical subject, anatomy, physiology, pathology, all of these ologies pertaining to the human body,
Mhm.
if that is stored in my consciousness somewhere, when
Mhm.
I need it, based on what my other gifts are telling me,
Mhm.
that information comes forward once again. So, a medical intuitive is a person who basically has the ability to assess based on their intuitive gifts,
Mm.
highly cultivated intuitive gifts paired with a very refined medical inclination.
Mm. I like that. I feel like we need to take a moment to breathe. Breathe, let that come on in. Wow. So, medical intuitive. Do you do a lot of work as a medical intuitive? Is the majority of your work as a medical intuitive?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
That
Nice.
factors in because of the fact that when I'm doing energetic work, I'm keeping tabs on the person's vitals.
Mhm.
A lot of energetic practitioners don't realize when you flow energy into someone else's auric field, you can impact their vitals in a negative manner.
Mm.
And they
Mm.
don't take that into consideration. I like to keep my patients, my clients as comfortable as possible. I
Mhm.
sedate any subconscious twitching. I'm allowing for the twitching to occur in order to release the trauma, but I'm not allowing the twitching to be a physical twitch. so that
Mhm.
the client doesn't get disoriented, afraid, or anything else that's uncomfortable. Some of these processes can be very uncomfortable if left unsedated.
Okay. So I want to kind of back up because there may be people that are listening for the first time. And a lot of this sounds like the client will be right there in your office working with you. You're working on the client. So, how does that work?
Well, I'm an introvert, so I don't meet
Okay.
clients in person.
Right.
All because of the way my gifts are, the
Mhm.
way in which they've been cultivated by me through my lifetime. I don't need to know your name. I don't need to know what you look like. I don't need to know where you are. I don't even have to have spoken with you at any point. I just need to be made aware that you exist. And the
Mhm.
way my gifts are structured, I can access your auric field, your morphogenetic template. I can access the core codes, and that access will allow me to begin working on the energetic root causation that is causing the symptomatic presentation,
Mm.
physiologically, mentally, basically every layer of existence. It gets affected by what happens to the core codes.
Okay. Now, that's one heck of an explanation, Amy. I want to back up also and go to etheric.
Mhm.
What is meant by etheric?
It's a very high level energetic layer of existence.
Mhm.
You have two etheric bodies.
Mhm.
One is just beyond the physical, the other is one of the highest levels that a person can tap into.
Mhm.
You could say that the second etheric level, etheric body, is one that can be used to access your Christic consciousness, your Christ level consciousness.
Mhm.
And I have the capacity to access that. That's
Mhm.
the level that I function at when I'm doing this type of work. That's the base level, if not higher. And because it's such a high frequency, it has a capacity to penetrate deep into the density of the flesh. It has a capacity to enter into the genetic material. It has a capacity to even enter into the subatomic particles that
Mhm.
make up the essence of the person.
Mhm.
It's a very specialized field of energetic work. It's definitely I don't know anything else that is comparable to this type of work.
Okay, okay. So thank you for letting us know more about the etheric. And someone is probably out there wondering, etheric, ether. What is the connection? What is ether?
It's energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's that flow of energy between humans and divinity. It's a
Mm-hmm.
buffer zone that exists. And it is a field of energy that all of us can claim as our birthright. By virtue of our existence, that is part of our birthright as souls. But most people, they don't know this and they can't tap into it because they're unaware of it. And that's where my work comes in and it brings awareness to that. Etheric
Mm-hmm.
medicine is more than just correcting pathology, diseased states. Etheric medicine is about realigning all of your parts so that you can once again connect with your highest degree of divinity,
Mm-hmm.
become your own healer.
I like it. I like it. So now we're getting more into the nitty gritty. What is etheric medicine?
It's exactly what I just shared, where
Mm-hmm.
I can access the parts of you that are causing this end result, which is experienced as mental, anatomical, physiological diseased states.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's really important for us to note that although I can correct the codes and begin to correct the circumstance because of that energetic correction, what ends up happening is if the person continues with their frame of mind, with their emotional state, with toxic behaviors, remaining in toxic environments, that will cause the symptoms to come right back. And
Okay.
it's not that I couldn't do it, it's that you didn't maintain the changes.
Mhm.
right? So it's like the equivalent of going on a new lifestyle,
Mhm.
a new way of eating. Not a diet, but just changing the way you eat. You know, you have this desire to be healthier, so you're eating healthier, you're
Mhm.
choosing healthier, and you maintain that. But the moment you begin to revert back to old patterns, maybe when you get overwhelmed, you eat your emotions, and
Mhm.
you don't just eat healthy food, you eat food that's very comforting, very calorie dense foods, greasy
Mhm.
foods, high salt, things like that, highly
Mhm.
processed. You're going to gain that weight back.
Mhm.
It's the
Mhm.
same thing with the energy work. You
Yeah.
have to sustain, you have to maintain the work in order to sustain it.
Mm, that makes sense. Okay, so I want to kind of veer off the beaten path a bit because what a lot of people don't realize is that you really have only recently begun to offer some of these etheric medicine sessions publicly. So, what did it take for you to get to that point? And why
Oh,
didn't you offer them before publicly?
oh, girl, these questions.
Hmm.
So I recently offered it because of a live stream I did on TikTok. And I mean, it's a very overwhelming experience. Very overwhelming. Um I was live streaming and someone commented, I was doing scans for people, biospiritual scans, and a person was um asking me in a very intense manner if I could work on them. They said they think they have a blood clot. Now, because of the way society is and governmental figures, organizations, I have to be very careful in how I word this. Okay. They stated they had a blood clot. And excuse me, I asked about specific symptoms, which they had, which indicates deep vein thrombosis, which is a very serious condition. It's a blood clot. I gave them information on the very serious potential side effects, catastrophic side effects if this is not done perfectly. And I told them I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to inadvertently harm them and that they should go to the ER. Now, this was during that Arctic snap that everyone had. Um, all the roads are closed. It's snowing, crazy sub-zero temperatures. And this person explained to me that there's no way for them to get to the hospital. There's no way for the ambulance to come. Well, when faced with that, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure you're aware. If any fragment of this blood clot breaks off, it could cause pulmonary embolism. It could cause an ischemic event, which is a stroke. These are catastrophic things, if not life ending. It could cause a heart attack. So many different, very serious things can happen. And they said, do it.
Okay.
I made them promise me that they would go to the doctor as soon as the roads were clear enough to safely go. And they promised. So I did it. I did it. Um,
Wow.
yeah. I accessed their entire template
Okay.
and I ensured that there were no clots that would be able to break off. I took various safety precautions and was as thorough as I possibly could be. And within a minute or two, they said that their pain, their discomfort was completely gone, and their leg, the vein had turned black. This is what they shared. It had been black for quite a few days, which is also indicative of a very serious blood clot. They said that I believe they said that that had gone away as I worked on them, and the pain was completely gone. And then the live stream was done.
Mm.
A few days goes by, and I don't hear from them. And now I'm worried, like, oh, see, this is why I don't want to do this publicly. And then a few days later, they get on the live stream and they comment that they've been able to go to the doctor and the doctor has cleared them of all blood clots. They're completely clear of blood clots.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder if that person would ever feel comfortable sharing that story. That would be really something, you know. But I'm not here to start any trouble. Just a little bit, just like not much, not much. But yeah, that's wow. That really says so much, especially for those of us who have taken classes with you, even those who have been in workshops with you, even those who listen to live streams on a regular. There are certain areas that you've tried to stay away from for quite a while. You know, not that you couldn't do it, but you just really stayed away from that. And it's just, to be honest, it's beautiful to see you come to this point. You know, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I think that maybe in the fall sometime we were talking about something. It was like a quantum leap. And here's another one. Here's another one.
yeah.
So I'm going to get on etheric medicine again in just a moment, but it could involve this too. But all these quantum leaps you're taking, I want to know, what do you even think is next?
I don't think there's any limits as to what's next.
I was just looking at the title above you a few moments ago because you were talking about something and it had so much relevance to Pisces push the limits. I don't know if you know that's above your head on the screen that I'm looking at, but
Is
that's
it?
above your head. It is actually above your head on the screen that I'm looking at.
Let me see what's happening here because I don't even know what live stream that's from,
Ooh,
but that was definitely trying to be the live stream for tonight. And I was like, that's not the title.
maybe it
What's
is.
going
Maybe
on?
they both are. If
Okay.
you have to choose one, your love for allopath, your love for medicine, or your love for energy work, hey, it's like you don't have to choose one. Etheric medicine and push the limits too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel strongly that my progression through my own personal process is
Mhm.
really reflective of humanity's progression through their own process, the collective whole. I
Mm,
feel like all of us are being prepared to really step into a space of taking full power back. That
mm,
includes this process of allowing ourselves to heal our
mm,
perceptions, heal our skewed expectations that
mm,
cause us to take ownership of disease conditions that
mm,
never really were for us. These were
mm,
conditions that were handed down to us, knowingly or unknowingly, conditions handed down to us, and conditions that we need to let go of.
mm. That's that's profound. That's profound. So, speaking of etheric medicine and the human trajectory,
Mhm.
there has been still for a long time these kind of things being pushed right to the very edges or just kept in very strict confines, almost to the point of things like this being considered hanky panky, hocus pocus, mumbo jumbo type of stuff. But speaking of the alignment with what you're doing on your individual journey and the connection to the collective journey, do you see people going more towards the areas of those confines, those formerly so tightly held and so underworld, type of ways of being and ways of healing, ways of recovering and just existing. Yeah.
Yes, we're all going back to our roots.
Mhm.
And the reality is, our roots They erupt from villages,
Mm-hmm.
village settings where we have true medicine, true community. This is where we as saplings first erupted from. And our roots are still contained within village settings. People are losing their trust of the modern world. The modern world has created a lot of dis-ease, right? Discomfort in simply being you. We've had to put on all sorts of masks, create caricatures, and silence the most beautiful parts of us, the most beautiful, most powerful parts of us.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because outside of the village, in the modern world, we are not given permission to be the powerful beings that we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think humanity as a whole is tired of feeling weak, being forced into a weakness that does not belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so people are looking for other options. They're looking for ways to truly begin health care rather
Mm-hmm.
than sickness mitigation,
Yeah.
symptom mitigation, which is what's been happening. Just
Mm-hmm.
mitigating the symptoms, creating more conditions,
And
mitigating those
maintenance.
symptoms. Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. And
And
this maintenance, money, money, money.
yeah, I think what's happening is we're all getting to a place where we just want the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to feel better. We want to heal, like truly heal. Now, etheric medicine is not always a quick fix. Sometimes it can be something absolutely miraculous.
Mm-hmm.
Most times it's something that requires patience, requires persistence, commitment to the process. It's
Mm-hmm.
important for us to stop participating in these spaces, these mindsets of quick fix. Just take a quick pill, it'll fix everything. No, it won't. Not even herbal remedies can fix everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Herbal remedies also have side effects,
Mm-hmm.
but people who learn, truly learn about herbalism, they take that into consideration. They take the whole being into consideration. That's what makes it such a synergistic type of medicine. Etheric medicine is synergistic because it takes into account the entirety of you, not separate organ systems, the
Mm-hmm.
entirety of you, how your emotions are stored in the body, how that storage of emotion radiates the cells. It affects the fascia. It affects the flow of your lymphatic system. Just
Mm-hmm.
the whole being must be considered. There is
Mm-hmm.
no other energetic system that I know, and no other uh, medicinal system that I know that
Mm-hmm.
takes all of these varying schools of thought
Mm-hmm.
and merges them together synergistically. The
Yes.
closest one that I can think of is traditional Chinese medicine, because
Mm-hmm.
they take into consideration meridian lines and the effects of energy. Um,
Yes.
but to be able to actively insert corrected code into someone's morphogenetic template,
Mm-hmm.
that's on a whole nother level of healing potential, on a whole nother level, a whole nother scale of healing potential. And this is where we are headed as a collective whole, this whole other level of potentiality across the board. That's where we're headed. Why would
Yes.
our medicine not be headed there as well?
Right, right. Definitely. That makes so much sense. And I know that we have a lot of people who come to you for private sessions, right?
Mhm.
And we have people who we may see and they actually are able to go get your expedited sessions. Now, is the etheric medicine, um, are the etheric medicine sessions, some form of them, are you offering those publicly through your expedite sessions now?
I have. I have several times already. It's been a very, very fascinating, very beautiful experience to share with our community. I've received some amazing feedback from that.
Mhm.
A lot of my own personal insecurities and disbelief in my abilities
Mhm.
are being dissolved by the sheer volume of people who are validating.
Mhm.
Um, I know what I can do,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean I always believe it wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
There's a
Mhm.
lot of uncertainty because of my perfectionism,
Mhm.
because of my desire to always take things um, even further with my learning and how I apply that knowledge and increasing the efficacy and accuracy of everything that I do.
Mhm.
It does cause me to have a normal human moment and be like, I'm not sure if this is working. And me offering etheric medicine publicly now, before I didn't offer it publicly,
Mhm.
it gives me the opportunity to receive feedback openly.
Mhm.
Before, I would offer etheric medicine type sessions only if you are privately referred to me by someone that I already deeply trust.
Mhm.
And it would always carry with it the request from me to not
Mhm.
share with anyone the work that I've done for the person.
Okay.
So it's been a very hidden thing for me. And um, sometimes we just need to exit out of these spaces of discomfort, spaces of uncertainty, so that we can truly step into a space that we belong in.
Yes.
A lot of people can be helped with etheric medicine. There's no need for travel, there's no need for downtime, but it has to be learned in the appropriate way.
Mm.
Um, I'm not sure what Kay is asking.
Okay. Let's see.
Um, Kay is asking, I have a quick question, or maybe try to send message wise, yet may help anyone else. As when I had the opportunity and when read all amazing options offered, found it, saw health question. I'm not sure I understand what's being asked.
Um, Possibly Kay wants to ask her question here, or possibly contact you via email. I don't know. Kay, I don't know. Kay, what you talking about, Kay? Help us out. Ah, okay.
Um, so so I don't feel slow or details when it comes to filling out that form as reading then time I missed it.
I think that what she in K, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I think in Katie, if you are, if I'm not mistaken, I think that you may possibly be talking about the remote healing opportunities, the opportunity to be a candidate for the remote healing session. Is that what you're talking about?
Um, Case says, to what extent details are needed? Well, it depends on what session you're looking for. If you would like the medical assessment session, um, it would be beneficial to give me as much detail as possible. Um, you're not forced to, but if you want me to be as helpful as I possibly can be, you would want to share as much as you possibly can. Uh, Actual diagnoses, the official terms, the verbiage that's used, test results, if that's something you feel comfortable sharing, all of these other things, details that people sometimes will share with me as I'm helping them. Those are important things because really, I mean, if you want me to help, you gotta facilitate me helping. So I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but
It was an expedite one night. Katie says it was an expedite one night. Higher self chooses options. Then did finally find. Then saw health was higher self chose because I think KD was wanting that at the time. But apparently, you were offering certain sessions via the expedite session. You know, the expedite live stream.
I think what Kay is referring to is the
Mhm.
Emmie eval, which is not a medical evaluation. That's not
Okay.
a medical assessment. That's strictly energetic. Sometimes what will happen is, as I do the Emmie eval, um, the higher self will discuss other things that are beyond just energetic circumstance. And so, in my desire to assist their higher self, I will sometimes also address physiological conditions, but that's not very often.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't. I don't really have a health questionnaire on my website.
The
Yeah.
only thing, and just to let you all know, I definitely am aware of the conversation. I like to also see what our soul family members are saying. It helps us to kind of keep in touch with where we need to go with the flow of the conversation. There may be certain people that we may see like three people, four people with the same question. This helps us to kind of get to know, okay, is this a point that we need to work on a little bit more? Is clarity needed in this area? Or is there a lot of interest in this area? So that kind of helps us. So I'm here, guys, just to let you all know. All right. So, okay. Yeah. So Teresa is chiming in on the questions of the health questionnaire too. You know, it just really to me sounds like a mixture of the certain things you were doing before with the nonprofit. I don't know if it's through was it through Emmy evolving or was it through Emmy's nonprofit Soul Work Synergistics, KD? Well, KD is there, and I'm sure that KD will chime in. Um, but we're Pisceans, so and we're INFJ, so it's like we kind of want to know what somebody's talking about. It's like, what's she talking about, or what's he talking about? Yeah,
Well, I mean, I would love further clarification just
yeah.
because I want to be able to provide you with as much clarity on my end as possible. And I'm not really sure I understand what's being asked.
Okay.
Um, from what I'm reading, the sense is that they're talking about just general questions for expedites. It feels like it's the Emmie eval, which again, it's not part of the etheric medicine.
Okay.
That's a whole the questionnaire will be given to the individual once they book the medical assessment private session.
Okay.
I do ask if people have a heart condition or epilepsy or are pregnant, just so that I can ensure to protect those parts of the person as I'm doing energy work so that I
Mhm.
don't trigger any type of flare up of a condition. So, um, I'm not too sure. I don't really do a full on intensive health questionnaire because when I read health questionnaire, I'm thinking of like your full medical history when you go to a doctor's office. So I don't know if maybe I'm misunderstanding, right? But I do ask if you have epilepsy. There
Mhm.
are certain frequency levels that when they're run through someone's energetic field without the proper precautions, it could trigger an epileptic episode. You could have seizures, right?
Mhm.
Just like if you have epilepsy and you watch a video with specific types of flashing lights, it stimulates the brain. It could potentially cause seizure activity, just like that. Um, for the expedite, it's just a question of like if you purchased a reading, what's your question? Or if you purchased a bioscan, what do you want me to focus on? You know? Um,
Okay. Yeah. Sea Ocean Soul is chiming in too. She says, I think she means the questionnaire. Well, you're talking about the expedite now. But then, let's see, she said a recent one. Okay. I think you may have had an opportunity where You were offering for a certain amount of time, and then the link was closed, the expedite link. Okay, I'm going to tell you, KD, I'm not exactly sure. But if you happen to be coming to the after party, you know what? You can get on the audio chat. You can ask the question you want to ask if you'd like to do that. But if you want to still, I'm sure Emmy still is trying to understand what you're referencing.
I have
Um, yeah, you
unfortunately.
are?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it doesn't seem like they're asking a question is probably what's confusing me.
Okay.
It seems like they're just sharing an experience of not being able to purchase an expedite while I was live because the link was closed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so yeah, does anyone have any questions regarding etheric medicine? Anything, that causes you to feel curious? Um, maybe something you've experienced? Anything like that?
Let's see. People
Thank you
ask the
for
best questions here.
yeah, thank you for reminding us to get back on track, Deb. I deeply appreciate that. So with etheric medicine, I don't have to meet anyone in person. It's definitely something that, most people are not accustomed to that. It's a feeling of I need to be in the office with you. You need to, put instruments on me, and that's just not how etheric medicine works. The way I teach etheric medicine, etheric healing modalities, I use my OraSpectra BioRegenesis knowledge that I was born with, and I teach my students about this. We use bilocation.
Mhm.
This is where you're able to fragment a part of your consciousness in a very secure manner, and you can observe the conditions that are existing within your client, the energetic conditions. And as you get to the higher levels of my certification program, you'll then also learn how to begin observing the medical conditions as well. Kel says, oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I just clicked on everything.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Um, no one's emotional here. No one's emotional here. So, Cal, let's see. Have you ever met anyone else that does something similar to what you do or even remotely similar? Um, to the extent that I do, knowing the history of clinical cases that I've, the details of those clinical cases, no. I don't know anyone else that does it to that degree. I do know, a very small number, um, of people, like single digit, less than one hand worth of fingers, who are very skilled and can harness frequency in that way. But I don't know anyone that dives into the etheric medicine aspect of it to the degree that I have. I hope that makes sense. Because I know people who can help with like, somatic releases. I know people who can help with like the correction of emotional trauma, ancestral trauma, things like that. But physiological, I don't personally know anyone,
Mm.
not to that degree. Um, my students have been able to help with like fibromyalgia. I have one student, I don't know if it's okay if I can give her a shout out, but
Yeah, I'm not
I
going to say
have
anything.
I have one student who, cleared cancer. Cleared cancer. The I guess the biopsy came out clear of any cancers. So, this is anyone can learn from me. You don't need to have previous experience with any energetic courses. What I tell people is that when you have previous knowledge of spiritual subject matter, it tends to be a little bit harder, just a slight bit harder, simply because what I teach contradicts what is very readily spread through spiritual communities and spiritual teachings. So then it becomes something where you're more likely to feel frustrated and confused because you've thought it's this way this whole time for years, but it's actually this way. And when you do it this way, it produces the results and you feel the potency of your personal energy. So it's one of those things where um, it's hard to convince someone what they've learned was learned in an erroneous manner,
Mm.
right? So yeah, you don't need to have any previous experience. Anyone can learn this from me.
Mm. That's
You're
super
so
cool.
sweet, Kel. Kel says, because I personally can't imagine anyone else doing this at this level, but maybe I'm biased. Actually, um,
Stuff.
I do know someone who does comparable work to me, but they do it physically, hands-on.
Mm.
They don't do the bilocation thing, and that is my sibling.
Mm.
So he works with high level professional athletes. I'm talking about pay-per-view events, multi-million dollar events. Those are his clients. And he just knows the body so well.
Mm.
So well. He can assist people that have injuries that my not my, but my brother assists people with injuries that their doctors have basically given up on.
Mm.
The doctors will say, we just need to do surgery on that shoulder or that knee. And he'll be able to get that full range of motion for that person again. He'll be able to release tendons and ligaments and nerves and all of these things. It is very, very fascinating to watch him work.
Mm.
I don't know that he realizes it, but he scans the physical body. He knows what's wrong.
Wow.
So, but he does it on a physical density level. I do it on because I'm not willing to don't touch, you know. So yeah, it's wow. I can't believe I didn't think of him because I'm
Mm.
thinking more of just like the pure energy of it. Yeah, he's the only person I know that can do comparable type work, but again on the physical.
Hmm. Do you think that and I'm not gonna hog up the questions, fam. We see them for sure. I just want to ask this really quick. Do you think that you two will ever team up and do some of the work that you do, excelling in your particular areas of expertise, but offering them in a joint way, a joint effort?
So my memory is not doing very well tonight. I just realized there's a second person
Mm.
who can do comparable work and
Mm.
has hybridized both systems, my brothers and
Mm. Mm.
yes. And I'm very excited for that person to be publicly recognized when the time is right for them.
Definitely. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But
Great.
I didn't think to ask permission before this live stream, so I'm just
Mhm.
gonna let that be just for the sake of their privacy.
That's understandable completely. Yeah. If any of these people ever want to come be interviewed, that would be a great thing. I think that just like you said, humanity is moving in a certain direction and it's just time. So not
Yeah.
to say anybody's being rushed. When you feel it, then we'll be so happy to have you. So happy to have you. Do you want to address some of these questions? I see some really good ones.
Yes. So Blissful says, do you think the amount of belief and trust the individual has in you makes a difference in the results? I do. I
Mm.
do. It makes it a lot easier. There's less resistance to the work that I'm doing. And I mean like resistance in terms of energy, energetic resistance, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, I've worked on people who don't know what I do. They've just been bought a session or they've been referred and they bought a session and I've worked on them and it's been a tremendous night and day type change, that degree of change. And
Nice.
they didn't believe in me in the start. So it helps, but it's not necessary for them to already, have been following my work and very deeply understanding and knowing and trusting me. It definitely helps. It does.
Mm, mm,
Tina has a question too.
mhm,
So you're healing from a higher consciousness. Is the energy work differentiated by light and sound? I think you know what I mean. So what I'm doing is actually, it's not necessarily a higher consciousness, it's more of a totality of consciousness. I'm not fragmenting myself. And I have awareness of specific structures that are not spoken about. They're not disclosed in ancient manuscripts. I have previous life awareness of these structures, and I'm able to activate them, utilize them, and that helps me to be able to utilize the patterning and repatterning of standing scalar waves in a way that is most beneficial for the individual. I deal less with light and sound than I do with the raw um, particles of it. The standing scalar waves can be experienced as a visual light or an audible sound, but the way I use it, it's there's no light and no sound.
mm,
So it's something that predates the existence of light and sound. I know that sounds very far fetched, but that's the only way I can explain OraSpectra BioRegenesis.
mm,
That's the only
mm,
way for me to explain it. It is a type of energetic field that existed before light and sound were given any type of meaning.
mm,
So it can get through to the very core of your being. And that's what
mm.
makes it so effective.
Wow.
Let's see. Me and my brother should collab and heal the world. He'd ask me for a massage, is what it is. Yeah. Let's see. Um, yep. Kel says, yep, I've gotten sessions for others that had limited knowledge of you and you helped regardless. Oh, thank you, Kel. Thank you. You are so sweet. Um, so would you guys like to experience um would you guys like to experience some etheric medicine?
Mm.
If you do, please go ahead and let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to work on, and I'll go ahead and see who I'm drawn to, and I can do some bioscans and all of that.
That's wonderful. And so the bioscan, I want to ask you, I'm so happy that you mentioned that because you used to offer that in your private sessions, but you no longer offer that in your private sessions, correct? You
Correct.
are, they are exclusively held for the expedite sessions, right? The expedite streams. All right.
Yeah.
And so I want to let you all know if you don't know what I'm talking about with the expedite streams, Emmy, a lot of times, what is it, Fridays or Sundays? You just,
Sunday
girl, you,
evenings.
yeah, Sunday
Yeah.
evenings. And sometimes she's, she's there for other events too, portal events and everything. But she offers live stream events and they're expedites. Expedites are a condensed session, right? So
Yes.
you can actually purchase a session and you can get that session delivered right then and there through the expedite stream. I don't know if you all realize, but a lot of times Emmy is backed up. She's booked up for months, right? And so the expedite sessions are twofold, well, threefold. They are to be able to offer someone the opportunity to have a session with her without having to wait for months that it would take for a private session, or even to do that as you wait for a private session. Two, to be able to offer the services, to be able to give the individuals or the community a chance to get them at reduced rates, significantly reduced rates. And three, which is probably not three, but this is also Emmy's way of giving back. So I think it's all a beautiful thing. All right. So if y'all don't know about the expedite, get into it.
Um, and just to explain, because I've had a lot of questions recently as to why I don't have the biospiritual scan available.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
with a biospiritual scan, we're able to identify some of the more superficial energetic problems, as well as more superficial medical conditions. And then that's all we do. And I
Mm,
feel like it's a much better use of people's funds because, everyone has a budget at this point. It is a
mhm,
much better use of your funds to pay a fraction of that, get all the information you would have gotten for a fraction of that, and then use your hard earned money for what will actually correct what's happening.
mhm, mhm,
So as time went on, I began to feel very disappointed with, all I'm doing is giving you information. I don't want to leave you like that,
mhm,
and it's like, so now you're going to have to purchase another session and wait
mhm,
another how many months. And to me, it just felt inefficient. It felt unfair to the person because then the time they wait for their session to correct it, they're worrying about the condition we've talked about. And so I figured the expedites would be the best way. It's very concise, it's very quick, and then they could use their funds on what really needs to be corrected.
mhm,
So, for the people who are wondering why I don't offer that anymore, it's really because I want to be able to offer you the most for what you pay for. People wait a long time to see
mhm.
me. And so
Yes.
I want to be able to make the greatest impact in their life when
Mhm,
they get their time with me.
mhm.
And, I don't want to try and talk people out of getting a bio scan. So I was just like, you know what? We're just going to not make it available and we're going to keep that strictly for expedites.
That's good though.
Yeah. Do you want to pick someone from the
Do
comment?
I want to pick someone? Yes, sure. You know what? Can I do a number war?
Yes.
All right.
You want
So,
to put in our private chat the number?
yep, I sure will. Actually, I'm this way. All right. I just sent it to you, but not through the private chat. I sent it to your message.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
You
We got
guys
a
have
number.
it.
Pick a
The
number from 1 to 100. The
Hmm.
first comment we see that matches the number she messaged me, you'll win a scan. All right. Hi, Aileen. Ooh, the numbers are going fast.
Yeah. Yo.
Stephanie, oops, Stephanie, oops. Ah! Stephanie,
Boy.
there we go. Stephanie. All right. You won at 38. Yay. Is it even on the screen?
The number is 38. Yeah, there it is. I was thinking you had the number, but the other number came on the screen. But yep, that's exactly right.
Oh,
Yay, yay, yay.
so
Congratulations.
uh-oh. My screen is completely black. There we go. I'm back.
Okay.
All right, Stephanie. Oh no. Uh, oh, I think my screen is just lagging. I think, yeah. Because when the comments go that fast, everything locks up on my end.
Oh, oh no. Oh no.
All right, Stephanie, breathe very deep and very slow. My attention is immediately brought to between your shoulder blades, um, your left rhomboid. It's in between the shoulder blade and the spine, the left shoulder blade and the spine. That muscle, it looks like you're being prepared for etheric wings to come forward. That's usually indicative of you reaching a higher degree of awareness of yourself, your journey. You're getting to a point where you're becoming very curious and very interested in living more of what your divine truth is. Quite possibly, this can cause you to feel as though you want to begin living a life of purpose. You want to begin being of service to others. You want your life to have meaning to it. And with the wings erupting, the right side is stuck. So um you might have like a skewed shoulder a little bit, some soreness in that area. You might also begin to feel tingling at your crown space, the very top of your head. I'm seeing energy is kind of just really shooting through you right now as you're hearing what I'm saying. It's confirming things for you. And so the resistance to your awareness of what you're feeling about yourself, uh, it's lessening, and more energy is able to flow. There's less resistance. So that's a really beautiful thing. It's a very common process for people to experience, where they go ahead and have these messages from soul. And as those messages come through, sometimes it's a little bit hard to believe, because it's like, but I'm just me, right? Yeah, but who you are is someone super important. What you are is something super important, and there's a purpose that you're being prepared for. I see your hands also beginning to light up. um, you can begin to experience some discomfort in the lower part, or I guess the upper part of your wrist, lower part of your hand. And as that happens, that's usually indicative of those energetic pathways also being repaired. Sometimes if the pathway is not insulated enough, it can cause what is typically categorized as carpal tunnel syndrome. Um, I've been talking to would be sensing you. I'm I'm so confused
More.
tonight. What did Stephanie write?
Stephanie, I'm not going to put words
Oh,
in your feed.
okay. Stephanie's been talking to Soul more
Oh,
since finding
wonderful.
me,
Nice.
and
Beautiful.
doesn't hear back yet, but keeps talking to Soul. No, just keep doing it. Keep talking to Soul. Keep allowing yourself to intentionally cultivate that relationship between the self and the soul. It's so very important. So, so very important. Because as you cultivate that relationship, you then open yourself to receiving even more guidance, more support from soul. Soul doesn't want you to struggle. And that's true for everyone. Soul does not want you to struggle. And what ends up happening when we can't hear soul is we allow our doubt to take over. And that's what causes us to select options that leads to more struggle. Yeah, no, definitely keep doing it. Keep talking to soul. And eventually you'll realize soul's been answering you this whole time, but you've just been expecting it in a different form of communication.
Mm,
You'll realize I'm feeling like you've already been receiving the messages,
mm,
but again, you're expecting the communication to come in a specific form, and your soul doesn't use that form of communication. So the messages are appearing to not be being received. Yeah. It'll work itself out. I don't feel like you need any type of session for that. That's just part of your natural growth as an individual. You just learn over time how soul communicates.
mm.
What number do you want to pick next? Hi, Kristen.
Okay.
Hi, Ruby.
I'm going to pick this number next.
Okay, guys, we're doing another number war. If you would like a scan, you gotta pick a number from 1 to 100. And oh, and Ocean has just sent me the number of her choice. You're welcome, Stephanie.
And so, fam, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Definitely. So happy to be here today. And so happy to see everybody. All these great questions. Everybody's trying to get the numbers now. They don't have time for nothing else but numbers.
Don't get in the way, girl. Don't get in the
Okay,
way.
girl, I'm not a hater. Mm-mm. Boy, did I see it? Lexi.
Did Lexi guess it?
Lexi got it.
Okay. I believe you. I don't see it on my end
Girl,
yet,
believe
but
me, but don't believe my eyes, because the way my eyes set up, we may need to slow motion that thing a little bit. So,
I
yeah.
believe you. Let's do Lexi. Lexi won at 23. All right, Lexi, are you ready? So I'm gonna have to have a second or two for my my system to reset itself. Um,
Okay. Your screen is
everything.
just going. Your screen is
Well,
just like so beautiful.
is it
Yeah, yeah. Lexi saw it.
on my end? My screen looks perfectly unbothered.
Your screen been swirling, just like I didn't see my screen doing any rainbow stuff earlier, and you did. It looks white to me, but the background. But I'm seeing like beautiful little swirls and everything, purple swirly, swirly, cute. Yeah.
Mine looks perfectly normal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, my screen is completely blanked out right now. It's trying to
Yeah,
catch
yeah,
up.
yeah. Okay.
All righty. Lexi, breathe deep and slow. So I'm seeing some thinned out darkness around the right lung lower portion. I'm not sure if that's where you had your procedure. Um, and then I'm also seeing like residual emotions. This is telling me that you've been working diligently with trying to process emotions, trying to process traumas, disappointments, setbacks in life. Um, there, do you feel like coughing right now? It seems like there is like inhaled pollutants in your lungs right now. Um, it's not super severe, but it's definitely irritating um, the lining. It's like the alveoli, they look inflamed. Were you recently sick or recently had allergies? Did she say no to being sick? Having recently been sick?
I
Or
think she said yes first to that, and then maybe no to something different. Okay,
you have a
yeah.
throat? Oh, asthma.
Mhm.
Yeah, asthma can sometimes present with inflammation. Um, the throat issues is from your third eye. Oh, so okay. She has been sick. She has been sick. It looks like you inhaled some type of pollutant, and your body's working overtime to release that, to eject it from the body. So the throat issues um, comes from postnasal drip, and that's coming from your sinus, especially the upper sinus. I see the same type of like pollutant. Um, the pollutant looks like aerosolized something. They're like particles that I'm seeing. So it's something in the air. And then your immune system's been a little bit depressed simply because, you're processing all of this emotion. And sometimes when you're doing tremendous shadow work, the higher self will depress your immune function to a certain degree. And that's so that your body doesn't begin to attack the parts of you that you're processing the emotion in. It would basically, if your higher self does not suppress the immune function, you'll be more likely to develop autoimmune type condition or acute circumstance. And so that's kind of a way to protect you. But in the time that your immune system was depressed or suppressed temporarily, you got exposed to some type of something. It's small particles, very, very small particles, smaller than the particles from a nebulizer. Is very, very small. It's particulates. and that's what's causing quite a bit of response in your body. You just got to keep resting, um, and you know just keep doing what you're doing. Take care of yourself, and take it easy with the shadow work. Be easy on yourself, Lexi. Lexi, um, is it okay to share what you accomplished with your mentorship? I know there's a video pinned on my channel homepage here on YouTube,
Mm.
but I still always want to ask if it's okay for me to share what you did. Yes, I assisted, but you did it. You did the work. Um, if you want to write it, I'll put it on the screen. I want them to hear it from you because that is your accomplishment and you deserve those flowers. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. So, so proud of you. Lexi did something powerful, you guys. Uh, she completely altered her life. All she needed were some tips, some encouragement, and she approached this project with absolute fearlessness and ferocity. It's it's definitely something I'm very proud to have witnessed.
Mm.
Very, very proud.
That's
So, do you want me to share or do you want to put it on the screen? I think you're typing right now to let them know what it is you accomplished because it's a big deal. A lot of people, like a lot of people, have suffered and continue to suffer through what Lexi has been able to resolve for herself in her life.
mm.
So it's a huge deal. And I hope that when Lexi is done with a comment sharing the details of her accomplishment, it will inspire someone with a
Yes.
similar struggle. So you guys know you're capable of so much. It's not just me believing in you. You're literally capable of so much. Oh, mm, yeah. You guys, she got off Oxy IR and oxycodone that she was on for 17 years.
Wow.
Her doctors advised her not to just stay on it. They wanted her to just stay on it.
Mm.
She did it
Wow.
in 14 days. She would have done it faster, but I was begging her to be like, please don't do it too fast.
Mhm.
Don't push too hard because as you're detoxing from that type of substance, that could really put you in serious danger. That could greatly affect your vital signs.
That is wonderful, Lexi. I just have to say that out loud. That is just amazing, beyond amazing. That takes so much. I'm so proud of you both. I know Lexi did so much work and you helped her to get to that place. And I'm just very, very happy about that. And there's so many. You really don't talk about the people who talk about your impact, but maybe you will one day. Maybe you.
Okay, I will say this. Any restrictions that I imposed on others about sharing what I've done to assist, those imposed restrictions are retracted.
Whoa, is
I
it
don't know
me?
that I'm wanting to share. What?
Did you feel that?
I'm sorry?
Did you feel that? Like as
No?
soon as you said that, girl, stop. You felt that.
I felt myself be like, "Oh, man." You mean
Somebody in
that?
I knew somebody in the audience had to feel that. Did somebody feel that after she said that? It was like a rush in the belly, like something had been released. It felt really, really big, but you could feel it on like the in the belly.
Gas?
Girl, stop. I got my ginger up there, okay?
Here's the thing, you guys.
Yeah.
It's really important for you
Why did
guys to
you
understand, the gravity of how this played out for Lexi. Uh, all I did, we spoke for about 90 minutes, I want to say. And we spoke. I gave some tips. And then the rest of the time, Lexi did the whole thing by herself.
Mm,
It
Lexi.
wasn't 14 days or less than 14 days of her and I constantly throughout the day, like, no, Lexi, don't do that. Or, you know what I mean? She regulated herself. She
Mm,
utilized the techniques to assist with symptoms, with self regulation. She did this herself. I
Lex.
can't take credit for simply sharing with her my knowledge.
Mm,
She did it herself. This is important for you guys to know. It was a 90-minute conversation. You have to know how powerful you are over your life and your circumstance.
mhm,
You have to. Lexi wanted it bad enough. And it wasn't because I was trying to convince her. She wanted it. She chose it. And
mm,
she made it happen. That's why I don't want to take credit for it. Lexi did the whole thing. I'm not here in the capacity of a healer. I am here in service as a guide, as a facilitator, someone to assist you, someone who's been gifted with tremendous access to profound, powerful knowledge. Knowing how to implement that is one of my gifts. And
mm,
that's all I do. I share. That's it.
mm,
You are your own healer. And it's important for us to know this because as we begin to experience the world becoming familiarized with etheric medicine, we cannot put individual people on pedestals.
yeah.
That is not the point of etheric medicine. The point of me sharing etheric medicine now is because we are ready to become healers for ourselves. And I want to emphasize that so strongly. This talk is not about hyping me up. It's about sharing with all of you a capacity that's been hidden deep inside you. It's time for you to reacquaint yourself with the truth of your power. It
Mm,
truly is. It
wow.
truly is. You know, you don't have to be me. You don't want to be me. I got a squirrel brain. You don't want to be me. My brain's all over the place. What you want to be is you, the greatest expression of you. Okay.
Mm.
Let's do another number wars. Thank you, Lexi.
Okay. Do, 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 do. I got it. Do, 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 do. You know what? How about this? How about this? Anybody who knows this tune instead of the number war, that makes it even more competitive. Anybody who knows this tune, and if you don't know the tune, it's all right. Just keep on with the number wars. But if I see this tune, yeah, that's who should be picked.
I don't know what that is. Keep going, girl. Keep going. They're like, we gonna stick with numbers. We love you, Ocean, but we
No,
sticking
no
with
more jazz heads. Okay, what y'all need? Y'all need hip hop. I can speak it like that too. Let me stop.
ooh, ooh, Method Man.
Okay, METHOD, man. METHO. That's a dead giveaway though. I breaks it down to the bone bristle. Ills through cascuts, heat seeking, Johnny Blaze, nightmares like Wes Craven, gunning, a whole stop. Y'all ain't ready.
You
Y'all
know
ain't
what's
ready.
gonna happen?
What's that?
You know what's gonna happen, right?
What's that?
The gentlemen in the house are gonna be like, what are those two doing? We're having
Yes, of course.
a podcast.
That's
Oh,
right.
I
They
saw it.
already know. You saw it?
Andrea. Andrea.
Yay.
Andrea won at 93. I don't know if it will go on the screen, but my system needs a second to
That's all
reset
right.
itself again.
Girl, is that your energy doing that to your system?
No, it's everyone's excitedness commenting numbers.
I can't
Amy,
ignore it, girl. Just stop. You're just not doing a good job. Just stop.
it's not me.
Guys, was anybody on the live that day? Emmy got upset, and you just saw this rainbow sludge just go all over the. You just saw this just rainbow sludge just
It
all over the
melted.
screen.
Yeah, it melted down the screen like,
It did. It really did. Just little rainbow.
yeah,
Oh,
well, my whole Care Bear
mhm.
persona came out.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
All
It
right,
did.
Andrea. So just breathe deep and slow, okay? My attention is immediately brought to your left eye, the lower portion. Um, do you wear mascara or like eye makeup? Do you put eyeliner on your waterline? It's some type of irritation that I'm picking up on. I don't know if you're feeling the symptoms yet, but if you wear makeup on your eyes, um, either eyeliner or mascara, you need to throw away the mascara, get a
Mhm.
brand new one, and the eyeliner, break off the tip of it, spray it down with alcohol, 90% isopropyl alcohol, and then resharpen it completely. Okay. Um, you have fake eyelashes, you're reacting. It's your body doesn't like it. Is it the eyelash extensions, the at home kit, or is it the strip lash with the regular adhesive? Because I'm concerned that you're going to develop a full on allergic reaction. Your body needs a major break. You get them done. Um, Now I used to get them done, but I then developed an eye allergy. Like it got pretty bad. I think the same is happening to you. Um, oh my gosh, really? So Michael just said something to me and he goes, "Don't you think it's interesting that your hair loss accelerated once you developed the allergy to the eyelashes?"
Wow.
Why didn't he tell me that before? He could have told me that before. I'm concerned. Well, my hair loss is autoimmune. So, Andrea, you might want to begin doing some searching online to see if there are any cases of people developing autoimmune conditions due to exposure to the glue,
Mhm.
the eye extension glue. Um, well, I mean, no, at least let the fall. I, that's not a cheap fill. Okay, no, no, no. Um, Before you get them taken off, do some reading. I don't
Mhm.
want you to make decisions from a space of fear. And besides, you can't get them taken off right now. So maybe do some reading tonight. And then if you find information that makes you feel like, okay, I should not expose myself to this chemical any further, then get them taken off. My blood is not regenerating fast enough. Joint stiffness. Is that a new thing?
Mhm.
Ooh, we. Hold on. Let me just check something real quick. Um, it's formaldehyde.
Mhm.
Formaldehyde is the glue has formaldehyde. That's what it is. Um, yeah. You might be someone of elevated, and brain fog. Take them off. Take them off. I think you needed to know this information because honestly, who would have thought that eyelash extension glue would create that type
This,
of effect, you know? Um, one of my friends is a lash artist, and I had told her about all of these different things that I was experiencing, and she switched me to a different type of glue, and I didn't have any of those issues with that other glue. It's for very sensitive people. But because you're already experiencing some very intense symptoms that are there, those are very common with developing autoimmune conditions. You want to just completely remove the glue. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. Give your body time, and maybe all of your symptoms will begin to kind of, go away, resolve themselves. And then you can try again, a few months later. And if you don't have any symptoms, then maybe it was just coincidence. But I mean, it's pretty immediate. My attention went straight to your eyes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I bet you look beautiful without lashes too, right? I bet you look beautiful without lashes. I'm sorry. Oh, that makes me kind of sad. I love lashes, and I'm becoming sensitive to mascara as well, like all sorts of different things. I have eye makeup on right now, but I have to be very careful with eye makeup because then my eyes start to not feel right. Feels like, I don't know, just weird. So I take it off. Yeah. You're welcome. I hope that helps you. Do you want to do one more?
yes, I do. Something came to me. Well,
Do say, do say.
I'm trying to think of what it was, but something came to me. Um, okay.
Okay. We got a number. Pick a number from 1 to 100. The first comment we see that matches the number that's written, you will win a scan from me. Hi, Kathy. I was going to say, hi, Ocean, in the comments.
No, right?
Wait, you're on
Okay.
screen. Ooh, people are zoning in. They're getting close.
Boy, look at Gigi, 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 Gigi.
Oh, mine's super slow. That's why it takes a hot second to catch up.
Wow. Yeah, people
Oh,
hit you close. All right. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna back up because I see it twice. I think I see the first person, but I don't want to. I want to be sure. Oh man. I think. I
found
think.
it. Oh, no. No. There. Oh my gosh. Um, Sheeman Renee, I keep trying to click on your name, but like Sheeman Renee, I think I clicked on everything around your comment but yours. So my screen is going to need a moment to catch up. I just had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be not alone in the work that I do.
Mm.
You know why?
Why is that, Emmy Pooh?
Well, sissy boo.
I'm listening, Sissy Pooh.
Um, because of all the students who have already certified.
I've been thinking about I've been thinking about all of that, but I didn't want it to be an episode where it went into talking about something completely different. But I've been thinking about that the whole time. Because I wanted to also ask you, do you intend on teaching others, and bringing along other medical intuitives? Because especially these youths, boy, there are a lot of gifted youths out there that are medically inclined, energetically inclined. Like you said too, you have I want to call it a university, but you have the academy, and maybe it is going to be a university at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait until I get the opportunity to teach even higher levels of the program. Okay, my screen is almost caught up. Almost. It's almost there. It's still frozen on my end, so it's almost there. All right. Okay. Someone was like someone close to me was like, "Oh, so it's kind of like the X-Men school for the
That's funny.
mutant school." I was like, "So you're like Professor X?" I was like, "Yes. I guess I am. I don't know." All right, Shimon Renee, let's go ahead and see what's happening. Ooh, babe, you have a lot of trauma still stored in your body. You've removed yourself from the environment that has traumatized you in this way, but you still have so much trauma in your body. Um, do you have restless leg syndrome? You get restless leg? I know people have called it a type of Hogwarts as well. Hey, I embrace that, you know? I
It's a
embrace
beautiful
that.
thing.
The the shaking, the tremors, that's your body trying to release the trauma. So, um, may I help you release more? Is that okay with you? So, yes, you have restless leg. All right. So, for any of you who have struggles releasing trauma, struggles with um, your shadow work, if you want to receive some of this trauma clearing, go ahead and put hashtag receive. So that way your auric shield can be calibrated to receive the work that I'm about to put out there. Hashtag receive. Let's see, hashtag receive. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Okay.
It's frozen. You're in?
My end is still trying to do something.
Well, I
Oh,
remember what I wanted to ask, but I won't forget now because I have it right here.
okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Do you want to ask me first as my screen tries to catch up?
No, no, I'll wait towards the end if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, guys, here goes. I'm going to play some musica. I love this song. You might begin to feel very warm. Pulsating in mild tremors in certain areas of your body. Allow the emotions to rise. One finger at a time. See your hand begin to open. Feel yourself becoming lighter. Take a deep breath in. Slow exhale out. How do you guys feel? Oh man. So much energy running through my chest.
I was like, I'm not closing my eyes, getting all emotional on this screen. I would have to go back and catch it. I already knew there would be trouble if I closed my eyes. No, it's a beautiful thing. And I still felt that beautiful lightning. It just like a beautiful, gentle lightning of something.
A lessening of density.
Yeah, yeah. Perfectly stated.
The frequency of trauma is a very dense one. It's a heaviness, very
Mm,
heavy. And it's often very viscerally felt, leaving its
mm,
mark on the body.
mm, mm,
It's important for us to not hold on to trauma in that way. Trauma can be used to trigger learning. It can be used to trigger all sorts of different types of expansion of awareness and growth and healing and so many different things. If we hold the trauma, it poisons the body.
mm. Do you have any services that are specifically designed to help a person release his or her trauma?
Somatic release.
Okay, somatic release.
It's
You
under
know, right
medicine.
here. Uh huh. And towards the end, I want to ask you about these wonderful new additions you put there. I'm still so happy that you're offering these things publicly. That's so huge.
It actually is huge because it's something that until recently, again, I would not publicly speak on it. I would not publicly offer it. Um, Usually what ends up happening is someone who knows me and knows me well will refer a person and they'll reach out. And then I'll tell them which session is comparable in frequency that is going to be used. And they book that. And what I do is etheric medicine instead. So
Mm.
it's definitely it's a big deal for me specifically because it ties in and is indicative of my own growth, my
Mm.
process of allowing myself to be an even greater expression of my most authentic truth, right?
Beautiful.
So I'm not a hypocrite.
That's a
'Cause
beautiful
sometimes,
thing.
yeah, sometimes I find myself talking about things in the readings and feeling a certain way because I know I still struggle with those things, and I feel like I'm not really in a position to be speaking um, about some of the things that soul has me speak on. And that's an important thing to acknowledge with our community because I say often we're shoulder to shoulder. There's no difference between me and you. And there really isn't. There really isn't. We all go through things. We all have the ability to find and implement solutions ourselves, right? If you guys want to take a peek at the etheric medicine offerings, you can click on the QR code or the link in the comment when we're done. Don't leave us yet. We're almost done here.
Yeah, you don't want to leave us just yet because I have some questions.
Okay.
I have some questions. All right, so I'm going to go through these really quickly,
Mhm.
right? Some of the offerings, some of the selections: medical intuitive private assessment, fibromyalgia, etheric core correction, stored emotion somatic release, which she was just talking about, viral load reducer, etheric immunotherapy, liver flush advanced support, advanced chronic. Girl, do you know how huge this is? Do you know how big this is? I'm so proud of you. Advanced chronic pain, deep brain stimulator activation, respiratory rejuvenation activation, pain mitigation activation, fascia purge and cleanse activation, hormone balancer activation, lymphatic system clearing, general health rejuvenation, advanced mitochondrial system flush, and and I'm seeing a slash, which means that discount that you had for your whole site applies to these new ones too. Did
Mhm.
you mean to do that? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you briefly tell me about the medical intuitive private assessment? Even though we've been talking about medical intuitives, what can someone expect from that?
So that one, I'm going to be scanning on a whole nother level.
Mhm,
Okay. It's basically how I do scans for expedites,
mhm,
but much more in depth. And we
mhm,
are going to take the time to really go through your medical history and cover all of your concerns. Like, what are you the most concerned about? Are you aware of these symptoms that you might not be totally paying attention to because there's worse things that
mhm,
are more pressing for you right now? You don't realize this symptom that's not a big deal.
mhm,
That's actually the root cause. We're going to
mhm,
look into potential herbal things that you can begin considering or you should begin considering.
mhm,
I'll give you a list of different things that maybe you should present to your doctor. It really just depends on the condition.
mhm.
Um, a lot of people don't know how to advocate for themselves medically.
Wow.
They just kind of do what the doctor says. Doctors are not infallible. They are not immune to mistakes. They are not immune to being run by ego and discounting what you're saying, right? So these are things that people often struggle with. And that assessment, we're going to go over everything. We're going to look at your environment. We're going to look at what is your soul communicating to you? What has it been trying to tell you? How have you been receiving that? Is it accurate? Is it the foods that you're eating? A
mm,
lot of people don't realize I have greatly struggled with my health my entire life.
mm,
This is why I have such a profound, such a robust foundation of medical knowledge. I had to learn it for myself. I had to learn it for my children. There's a concept of eating for your frequency that is my hypothesis. This is a working hypothesis that I have. And I found a doctor who wrote a book called Wall's Protocol that scientifically explains what I was going to spend a year building scientific knowledge for myself to be able to explain in a scientific manner. She
mm,
already did that work. I have access to all sorts of different manuals and medical literature that helps me to pinpoint things. In
mm,
addition to my medical intuitive skills, my gifts, I'm also very factual based. I like to reassure myself that I'm not misleading you. And that makes me very thorough, very, very thorough. So we go as deep as you want to go, sometimes even deeper. And we really uncover some of the things that need to be addressed. Some of the worst symptoms can simply be because you're needing somatic release of stored trauma.
mm.
You know, did you guys know that there is a medical condition that when your heart is broken so badly, your physiological heart will break? It's not just like some old timer saying, right? Oh, broken heart. They died of a broken heart. It's called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. And that results in true cardiomyopathy that is sometimes acute and sometimes it is reversible. People don't know that. The physical body will tell you what's happening. It is the roadmap. I happen to know how to read maps. And with that service, that's what we do. We read the map. We make sure the map is oriented the proper way so you can get a clear understanding of what needs to happen next.
I
And
love
just
it.
real quick, I never replace traditional medical therapy diagnosis or treatments. I never replace that. I am in I work in conjunction with it. I help to give you clarity on how to communicate with your licensed treating physician. So I want to make that very clear. Like heart injury, not heart implodes, but basically degrading heart function. Yeah. So it's definitely, you know, a condition. It's a medical condition. It usually will self-resolve with proper treatment, proper support. But the heart, man, the whole human body, it communicates in ways that are felt, not heard. Yeah.
Deep. So, fibromyalgia, etheric core correction. Can you tell us briefly what that is?
With my own struggles with fibromyalgia, I had fibromyalgia for about 6 years. And all of my specialists that I was seeing, they said that it was the worst case they had ever seen from their entire careers. I was in my doctor's office no less than 3, maybe 4 times a week for a long time. And none of the medications helped, none of the physical therapy helped, nothing helped. And I began looking at myself from a different perspective. Towards the end of that 6-year period, I began to notice certain things. Um, that was the period where I began cultivating my ability to scan intentionally. I've always been able to scan, but that was when I was like, okay, I need to see what's happening. Fibromyalgia, from my point of view as a morphogenetic engineer, um, it's a result of chakra injury. If you can successfully correct whatever the circumstance is, you can correct fibromyalgia. And I've been able to successfully assist hundreds, if not thousands, of people with the cessation of all of their fibromyalgia symptoms. The work that we did was not titled as a fibromyalgia healing session. No, I'm addressing the core energetic causation. And people often would ask me, like, hey, do you heal fibromyalgia? And of course, I would tell them no, because I'm correcting the energetic circumstance. I finally decided, because so many people have struggled with their ascension mechanics and have inadvertently injured themselves energetically because of the resistance and the struggle. They develop fibromyalgia symptoms, and it's time for me to begin offering uh, properly properly titled sessions that people can easily understand is for this condition and that condition.
That's good. That's really good. Wow,
Yeah.
that's deep. Can I ask you about another one?
Sure.
Okay, you've already talked about you already talked about the stored emotion somatic release, and then you have the viral load reducer etheric immunotherapy. What's that?
The etheric immunotherapy.
Viral load reducer etheric immunotherapy. Hmm.
So, with that, oftentimes we have a viral load in our system and there's no symptoms. Other times when the viral load becomes too high, and I hope you guys can grasp what I'm trying to dance around.
My bad. Etheric immunotherapy.
So there are ways to target um, viral components that will prevent it from being able to trick your cells into replicating it. Viruses are incapable of self replication. So, what they do is they inject their information into your cells, corrupt your cells, and your cells then begin to replicate with their code. Now, once you reach a certain amount in your system, you'll begin to experience symptoms. I wish I could say outright, I'm not allowed to. I hope you guys know what I'm dancing around.
We respect that.
Yeah, I've YouTube specifically has already warned me that they will remove my channel if I talk about certain medical things. So, yeah. I wish I could better explain, but
I think you did a wonderful job. I think you did a wonderful job. And this community you have going on, lots of intuitive people, lots of people who are very good, independent, critical thinkers. So I think everybody will be fine. All right. So I want to ask about the liver flush advanced support.
the liver is often very heavily taxed because we live in such toxic spaces. And I don't just mean environmental pollutions, I'm talking about toxic thoughts, toxic relationships. Most workspaces are also toxic. We're just surrounded day in, day out. Most things that we watch on TV, songs, everything, toxic, 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 right? The physiological, the anatomical liver and the etheric liver, they filter all of these toxins out. The toxic emotions, they're governed by the liver. So when we become overloaded with the emotions, the thoughts from our environments, our relationships, everything, the liver often suffers. And the liver is where many medications are metabolized. The liver is where the lymphatic system dumps all of the toxins that get filtered out of the other parts of the body. Our poor liver, our poor liver. You have anger issues, guess who gets hit? The liver, right? And once the liver's function begins to decrease, well, there goes even more toxins, less filtering out, less excreting. That session is designed to assist with that process so that the liver can get a little bit of a break, a little bit of assistance, and you can begin clearing out more of that toxicity.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, all of your organs have an etheric counterpart. This is the very reasoning why when you get your gallbladder removed, many people still have the same symptoms as before their gallbladder was removed. It's because they didn't address the root causation. They removed the organ, but there's still the etheric organ. So it's still going to be an issue.
mm.
Yeah.
So, how are we on time? Do you want me to pick a few, or do you have time to briefly describe more than just two?
I'll make time. So
Okay,
our after party chat is going to be on Saturday morning.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I told somebody to come to the after party. The after party's Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have um, advanced chronic pain, deep brain stimulator activation. So let me say that again. Advanced chronic pain, deep brain stimulator activation.
Mhm. So that's when I access a very deep portion of the brain that is responsible for detecting or receiving pain information from other parts of the body. This is a very potent, very, very potent type of activation. What it does, it helps to reduce or completely eliminate intense chronic pain.
Mm,
But it's not always in one session that can all be done. That's what I aim for. That's what I aim for. In one session, we're able to do it. It just depends on how strongly the person adheres to the identity of being in pain.
mm.
Because for some of us, we become the wound, we become the pain. It becomes part of our identity. And in that case, it's something that requires a bit more.
Can you remind me to ask you about one that's not on this list? It's not etheric medicine, but it's one that I really want to mention. I've been feeling to mention it. Respiratory rejuvenation activation.
So a lot of people are being affected by the quality of air. Again, trying to dance around some stuff, right? That would help with that. That activation would help. A lot of us are developing asthma, respiratory type irritation on a chronic level. Um, excuse me. Many people are getting ill with a mystery illness that is heavily impacting the lungs. Uh, this will help to address some of those symptoms.
Mhm.
Yes.
Nice. Uh, I I'm not going to hog up the stage about what I have gone to Emmy to get some help with as far as my respiratory system. But let me tell you, I'm just going to say this very, very briefly. I was so sick, guys. I was so sick, 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 chain coughing sick. All of that is like, and I didn't say anything at first. I tried to deal with it, and I was like, you know what? I'm sick. I am sick. And one of her services dealing with the respiratory system, I'm telling you, like, just so quickly, I felt the most relief than I had felt for like almost 2 weeks, y'all. I was very sick. So she's really good. Okay, so now we have pain mitigation activation.
That is for pain symptoms that are not as advanced. The Blissful had a really good comment or really good question. Would the deep brain stimulation be good for Parkinson's? Conditions like Parkinson's, yes. Yes. Especially when you're having a very dysregulated nervous system, this can be very beneficial addressing the etheric causation of that.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice. Do you have one specifically designed to help ease the nervous system to help. Well, I don't know if that would be so. Well, do you?
Yeah.
Let me just let you answer the question. Do you have a service that is more so focusing on calming the nervous system, balancing the nervous system? We do. Okay.
Yeah. It would be the deep brain stimulator.
Okay. Okay.
It would
Great.
be
Great.
that.
Great.
That also would help with vagus nerve dysregulation, just conditions where you're very dysregulated.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So when Serenity Now doesn't work, that might help you, right? Serenity Now. You remember that episode from Seinfeld? All right. So now we have the fascia purge and cleanse activation.
Yeah. People disregard the fascia far too much. It's so underrated and pretty much disregarded. As a matter of fact, it's only very recent that even medical professionals have begun to really explore about the fascia. It is through your entire body. It is something that's considered to attach the skin to the muscle. It wraps around the muscle groups. And within the muscle groups, it wraps around the muscle fibers that make up those muscle groups. You have it through your entire body. Now, with that fascia, when it starts to not function properly, you begin to get prone to injury. You also begin to hold on to trauma so much more. You begin to have quite a bit of dysregulation through the whole body. Depending on what areas of the fascia are most heavily affected, that's what's going to determine where you're experiencing the symptoms. There are groupings of fascia that create anatomical trains, and it creates like a strut in the body. It's tissue that's helping to keep the form and the function. And you think your issue is here, and it's really at the bottom of your foot because
Mhm.
that's the end of the train. It's a very complex thing, and with that activation, it carries with it tremendous potential to correct so many different types of symptoms, so many different types of symptoms that often involve pain, reduced range of motion, um, reduced quality of life. Fascia is so important. That's the anchor point for the chakras to communicate with the physical body. So if that goes wonky, you're going to have a hard time communicating with higher self as well.
Mm,
It's a complex relationship, but it's a very, very important one.
deep. I'm really enjoying these explanations of services. Now we have hormone balancer activation.
So with the hormone balancer, we are exposed to endocrine disruptors day in and day out. Febreze, fabric softener, your soaps, lotions, makeup, dish soap. It's in so many different things, and it wreaks havoc on our hormones. Hormones are responsible for quite a few major processes for the human body. You know, um, people think that it's normal to go through menopause at a specific age. No, it's not.
Mm,
That's not the natural order of things for the human body.
mm.
Michael says I'm getting too honest.
Uh-oh. We don't want that
um,
smoke, Michael.
that's a lot of the symptoms, and this is not just for women. Okay. It's also for men. A lot of the symptoms that we experience will also involve or be caused by hormone imbalance. That will help to get your levels, etheric levels, back where they belong. So when you apply the techniques, the herbs, whatever it is for your, excuse me, physiological hormone levels, that will be much more effective. Yeah.
Okay. Lymphatic system clearing. You reminded me, this reminds me too. It wasn't even a remote session, but Boy, I got some body work one time, and that was something serious. Okay, so can you tell us about your lymphatic system clearing, sir?
The lymphatic system is responsible for getting, kind of the trash from the rest of your body, your cells, um, your cells trash. And it's supposed to help filter it out, and then it gets dumped into the liver to be excreted. Well, for most of us, our lymphatic system is heavily clogged up.
Mm,
And so that's part of the reason why we enter into toxic overload. If you don't clear that, then a lot of conditions are given the proper environment to really take hold in your body and lead to actual physiological disease. It's been speculated by some medical professionals, emphasis on speculated, so I don't get in trouble, that improper functioning lymphatic system could be a precursor for cancerous conditions.
mm,
So you want to make sure you clear that out. I was actually talking to my son earlier today, and I was telling him that, I have this working hypothesis that if you have a very pronounced struggle with body odor, um, there's a very high likelihood your lymphatic system is heavily clogged, and your body is now a breeding ground for serious disease, serious conditions. And it's not just having sweaty armpits. Like, everyone has a scent to them. I'm talking about, like, really um really pronounced body odor. You
mm,
can smell the disease coming off of some people.
mm,
And if you can clear the lymphatic system, you can begin supporting the body as it tries to correct itself. If the body is given the appropriate support, the appropriate materials, it will self heal. It will self heal. But it can't do that if all the pathways are clogged up and it can't get rid of its cellular waste.
mm,
It can't do that. And that's the job of the lymphatic system. That particular activation is one of the most powerful activations you can select for your self healing journey,
mm,
because it powerfully supports you taking out all of these toxins, removing the worries, removing, clearing some of those toxic emotions. If you're doing all the work, the energetic work, emotional work, mental work, and you're not seeing progress, it's probably the lymphatic system or the fascia.
mm,
So those two are super important activations.
mm. Deep. It's all so deep, right, guys? Like, wow. And just hearing the connection between this thing and another thing, not just physically, but also etherically. This is very, very good information. So I think that a lot of people would be interested in this, even if they didn't know anything about any of the other ones. General health rejuvenation. Because people are like, I feel drained, I feel lethargic, I need some rejuvenation. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
what is general health rejuvenation?
Exactly what you said.
Okay.
You don't have anything specific that's very serious. There's no symptoms that are scaring the heck out of you. You're just exhausted, you
Mm,
know? You're
mm,
drained. Life's been too busy. You don't have the energy. You don't even have the energy to feel your emotions. That means you need a top up. You need a few adjustments. You need your chakras checked to make sure energy is flowing there. You need a quick checkup on the fascia so that the chakras are communicating and flowing energy properly into the physical body. Just a little, like a lightweight flushing of the lymphatic system, or maybe just the liver, whatever lightweight type work that needs to be done. That's a perfect option. If you're making progress with your health journey, but you just feel like you need that extra support,
mhm.
that's the perfect option.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Now, last but not least, for the etheric medicine selections, we have advanced mitochondrial system flush.
A lot has been happening. This is an activation explanation that I'm going to have to do some dancing as well.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that have been happening in the world of medicine that has been, let's say, enforced on people.
Mhm.
And some of these things have been known to damage mitochondria. That's the activation that focuses on repairing the damage.
Nice.
And hopefully, if the damage is not um, too much, we can return it back to its original state, and your symptoms will resolve.
Mm, mm, nice. We appreciate that. That's very, very, very important. Yeah, definitely, especially
Yeah,
in these times of so much from all directions. So the next one I want to ask you about is not an etheric medicine question. It is the spiritual bridge communication, right? Or did I mix up the words?
and
Because I
that's
do.
right.
Yeah, I really, that has really been on me heavily for most of the time we've been talking about the etheric medicine sessions. And I know that's not in the same category. I don't know if somebody out there really needs to hear this information, but I feel that it's really possibly going to give someone some information about something they may want to consider. So, the spiritual bridge communication, what is that, Emmy?
That's when I serve as a bridge to communicate messages to you from people who are on the other side. Loved ones, ancestors, whatever it is, who have transitioned to the other side of existence. They can choose to come forward and communicate things, important things. Oftentimes, these sessions are extremely profound. I cannot emphasize that enough. Extremely profound. I did a spiritual communications bridge with an individual on a live stream yesterday. I think it was yesterday, last night, I believe, on TikTok. Her energy called out to me,
Wow.
and yeah, I don't know why her energy called out to me, and it turned out that her husband, the father of her children, uh, had passed away 6 months ago.
Oh,
And it was supposed to just be a scan, but he suddenly was in the room with me,
wow.
and he began pouring his heart out, just profusely pouring his heart out and sharing some details with her that really resonated with her. And she said on the live stream that she thinks that maybe hearing that saved her life.
Wow.
She was struggling so badly, so badly from the loss of her husband, and
Wow.
she's kind of left to raise their twins on her own.
Mm,
And the type of trauma that gets lodged in the body with that type of loss, I wish I had had time to reach out to her and see if I could have shared more details, because it makes what she commented about, she thinks that spiritual communications bridge may have saved her life. It could give you more gravity as to what is meant by that. I want to respect her privacy, though. Um, but spiritual communications bridge, sometimes it's the very thing that gives you the will to move forward from the pain.
mm,
Um, it can sometimes give you closure. It can give you the opportunity to heal and have conversation that you could have never had in life.
mm,
Humans do this weird thing where we wait until after the end to acknowledge. And it's better late than never, but most people can't hear what they're acknowledging. I can. And in a spiritual communications bridge, I am very open with what they are stating. I have this ability to not just hear them and see them if they choose to show themselves and speak to me. I can feel what they're feeling. I can feel it as though I'm feeling it. So I know the intention. I know what they're trying to communicate when they don't have the words to communicate. And I can express that to the individual. And my gosh, the end result of spiritual communications bridge is oftentimes such a deep and profound internal healing of
Mhm.
all of these just painful wounds that people would normally carry with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
None of my sessions are lightweight. If we're really
Mm-mm.
gonna be honest, all of them are they're intended to change your life.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And I just want to kind of let you all know again, she has got that discount applied to all of those services. So if you've been wanting to get a spiritual communications bridge, it's a great time. If you've been wanting to try any of her sessions out, it's a great time. She's got them on sale. And, you know, like she says, those sessions are life changing, you know? So,
Yeah. This was an awesome talk. Is there anything else that you wanna share before we go?
no,
Last words?
I'm proud of you.
Oh, don't make me cry at the end.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Oh. What's weird is this might have been one of the hardest podcasts to do for some reason. The easiest yet the hardest.
You did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow, she is really offering these things publicly.
I know.
Those who have been a part of the community, you know how huge this is because you know what she does, but you didn't know like what she does unless you were, so it's just huge. It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have heard me speak about the etheric medicine that I've used on my mother and used on my brother. Um, those are not the only people. It's not just family. I have worked on people with mitochondrial damage, irreversible mitochondrial damage due to medical malpractice. We've successfully reversed that. I've worked on people who have had very serious brain injuries, and it has been something that's been very well mitigated. There's certain things that can be completely reversed, and there are other things that it takes time and a lot of effort. But you know, I'll just say this: I feel like soul is pushing me to the point of finally openly sharing medically documented cases that I've worked on.
Mm.
And I'm not just talking about like, oh, I sensed this and I cleared it, and then they went to the doctor and it's gone with no prior diagnostic testing and imaging to show that there was a condition to begin with. No, guys, I have worked on people who have had issues, medical struggles that have been very heavily documented for years, only to be completely resolved when they begin working with me.
Mm. Yeah.
Etheric medicine is going to be known in a very short time. um, it's just, it's time. It's time.
That's wonderful. Yeah. One thing real quick, I just want to um okay. First of all, I just want to say Soul Fam slash tribe, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And Tina says that she can't see the spiritual communication bridge on the list. All right, let me see if we can get that for you on the screen. Emmy, I'm feeling like somebody's telling me to tell you something, but I don't feel like they're words. So whatever is being communicated in this moment is not from somebody who irritates you.
Okay,
So
thank God.
don't, I don't feel all that either. But whatever is being communicated, it's just receive it if you feel to receive it.
Is it gas?
Let me see. Girl, you were right. No. Let me stop. But no, actually, that's exactly where it was coming from. It is coming from right here, and it wants to, it's communicating something to you, but it's not really for me to try to interpret, not even for me to say. It's not for me to try to interpret. It's just for me to allow myself to just be delivered through me.
It's not from Marlene, right?
No, it's not from Marlene.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll put that in the potential receiving bin. We'll have
I'm
to
so
assess
sweet
that
with you.
after.
Marlene, she's so bad. Oh, let's see. Now I'll tell you
The
what happened in 3 seconds. That Lindsay.
the spiritual communications bridge is not in the etheric medicines list. You just go to the search bar of the services page and you'll be able to pull it up.
Here we go.
Oh, thank you, Lexi. Lexi says, "We love you, Emmy. You've changed so many people's lives. We are blessed and grateful for you." You're so
Oh,
sweet. You're
that's
so
so
sweet.
sweet. She is.
And I feel like you guys have been such a blessing to me as well. You know, you guys have completely transformed my life and have greatly encouraged me to step into a space that is my most authentic space to date, where even more of me is being allowed to be witnessed openly by anyone wanting and willing to witness it. So, you guys play a huge role in my journey, and I hope you guys are aware of how grateful I am. I'm very grateful. Each of you have done something at some point that has really kept me focused on what I'm here to do. This is not an easy life. You know, being this different is not an easy life. And it makes it a lot easier, not just tolerable, but easier and even enjoyable being immersed in a community like ours. Our
Mhm.
community is full of amazing people. And I hope you guys feel as supported as I do on a regular basis. I hope you guys feel that from our community and especially from me. You guys are amazing. All right. Thank you, Ocean, for
Thank
taking
you.
time.
Absolutely.
Guys, it's time for us to go. For those who are part of the Soul Sanctuary, we'll be meeting on Saturday morning. I'll have the announcement up there. If you're not yet part of our community, okay, there it is. I was going to say, where's the QR code? If you're not already part of our Soul Sanctuary community, I highly suggest you consider joining. Just click on that QR code or the link in the comment. It'll take you exactly where you need to be. This is a link for the recurring contribution to our church and nonprofit. It's not a membership, it is a recurring contribution and therefore tax deductible for people in the United States. We are a religious organization. We're categorized as a religious organization. And so any recurring contributions can be claimed. um, we have very powerful conversations. Oh my gosh, I came across a video of it's a video validating the things I've been telling our community in the Soul Sanctuary.
Mhm.
Like, mhm, we're gonna
Mhm.
have another intense we're gonna have another intense conversation this Saturday,
Mhm.
9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're gonna talk in depth about some of the oncoming and further developing situations for energy and the world and our community. I hope you guys can join. And for those who are not yet part of the Soul Sanctuary, I hope you can join as well. So, thank you, Ocean, and thank you to
You.
everyone in our community. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your night. And I'm off to spend it with a fam.
Good night.
Good night. Bye, everyone.